Welcome, viewers, to the Broward County Bar Association's Meet Our Sponsors series. Today, I have Lance Randall, Principal of LRI Process Serving and Litigation Support. Thank you, Lance, for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Wonderful. So, Lance, tell us a little bit about LRI Process Serving and Litigation Support. What kind of business do you do?
Well, LRI Process Serving and Litigation Support is a full one-stop process serving agency. We've been family-owned and operated since 2001. Many people know my father, Lenny Randall. He was a process server since the 1970s, so I kind of followed in his footsteps. And we provide not only process serving, but we provide full litigation support, which includes mobile notaries, legal courier, expert witness. I've actually been involved in the amendments to Chapter 48 over the last decade. So I can provide expert testimony as to what the legislative intent was at the time the statute was amended, and many other things.
What is, just for clarification, just tell us briefly, what is Chapter 48?
Chapter 48 is the Florida statute on service of process and service of witness subpoenas.
Thank you. So, and I know you're heavily involved in leadership. So tell us a little bit about LRI process serving, litigation support, your culture, your philosophy, your values, and how does that help you serve your clients?
Well, number one, most important in our eyes is due process. The entire idea of service of process comes from the fact that everyone is afforded due process. And if your defendants or your witnesses properly served, then they're not affording due process. We also believe from an LRI that due process is also afforded to the plaintiffs. The plaintiffs have just as much right to have their lawsuit move forward as a defendant does in the ability to defend themselves. So we believe it's a two-way street. So when we're out there serving process, we're focusing on what's good for both the plaintiff and the defendant. We want to make sure that we make every effort diligent, cross all of our T's, dot our I's. And yes, while we are paid by attorneys and or pro se litigants, there's a lot of times where we're asked to do things that don't fall into place with those values, and therefore we will have to respectfully decline.
Along those lines, can you talk a little bit about notable or unique situations and maybe how you were able to help your client?
Absolutely. The first thing actually pops into mind. It's a very funny story. We were trying to serve a defendant that lived on Star Island. Naturally, this person was a very famous person whose name I won't mention because I don't like to brag about the celebrities that we serve. But I will say this, is that this defendant was avoiding service, big iron gate out front. You couldn't get to the door. Anytime you rang the bell at the gate at the street, the butler would show up or someone who was a non-live-in maid. Basically, you couldn't serve the paper because the people that lived in the property were not making themselves available. So, and I chuckle when I say this, but when you actually think about that are on the water, they're called waterfront properties. Would you agree with that?
I would. Yes, I would.
Right. Which means the front door of the property is actually on the water. See where I'm heading with this?
I do.
So many of my clients know that I'm a boater, and I'm a huge proponent of take advantage of your resources. Whether that be if you have a client that specializes in this and you have another client in need, let's put them together. Or if you have a boat and you've got a person avoiding service of process when you're trying to serve them from the street, the intercoastal waterway is a public waterway just as much as the street is a public access. And if it's waterfront property, I thought, well, what if I pulled up on their dock and attempted to serve them that way? So we gave it a whirl. We jumped in the boat, me and one of my other process servers that works with me, we jumped in the boat. We cruised over to the property. The defendant that we were looking for, very famous, we had a photo and everything, happened to be standing on the dock. So as we pulled up, I shut the motors off and kind of glided in and handed him my bow line, in which he took and tied my boat up. So at that point, I introduced myself as a process server. I showed him my identification. I endorsed the documents and I handed him the summons, and I read the style of the case. And while I thought that I was going to get a reaming that I've never had before, he actually chuckled and was amused by my tenacity. And he actually said, "You are the first person that has been able to personally serve me ever. And I appreciate how you did it."
That's awesome. Love it.
So yeah, there's that.
That's great.
I think the point is how we uniquely serve our clients is we're willing to go above and beyond. There no task, as long as it's ethical and reasonable, no task or no request is too big for us. We've served process by court order on Sundays at Dolphin Stadium. We've served process on cruise lines for the executive chef or the captain of a ship that will only be in port at that time. We're not one to say no. We're more ones to say, let me figure out how to get that done for you. And if we can get that done, we absolutely will give it our 100%.
Well, to your tenacity and creativity, tell us a little bit about any awards that you personally or LRI process serving has received for your efforts.
Well, I've received a lot of awards. The Broward County Bar, the South Broward Bar, the Florida National Association of Professional Process Servers have given me awards and or accolades. The one that really stands out, the one I'm the most proud of, is the Florida Association of Professional Process Servers gave me what they call the FAPS Distinguished Service Award. And it is given to someone who selflessly and without any regard to their own personal feelings has dedicated multiple years of service to the process serving profession, not just serving process, but making every effort to improve the service of process, be it getting politically involved, be it writing amendments to Florida statutes, be it, we had a process server, for example, in St. Lucie County that was attacked while serving process. And the defendant tried to have her license revoked and claimed that she was trespassing, even though she basically walked up the driveway to serve the paper. And I took time out of my day to go and testify in front of the chief judge who had issued an order to show cause against the process server. And it's been said that my testimony afforded the chief judge to make a rational decision and dismiss all charges against the process.
I know that you're heavily involved in leadership. And so talk a little bit about what sets LRI process serving apart from other companies.
Well, we're willing to help everyone. If another process server is having a difficult time serving process for their customer, we will jump in and assist them in serving it without taking any credit whatsoever. If we have an attorney or a client of someone else that contacts us because they're having a difficult time trying to serve the paper and they want us to tag team with their process server, we do so with open arms. We don't believe that we're in competition with anybody except ourselves. We operate under the fundamental principle that we're only as good as we were yesterday. So every day we strive to be 1% better than we were yesterday, if not more.
Outstanding. I know about your ethical and just good nature way of conducting your business. Would you like to tell us anything else about yourself? I know you're in real estate, or other things about LRI process serving before we end our little chat here.
Well, most recently, I have to tell you that I'm glowing a little bit, humbled and excited. I was just recently appointed to one of the Florida Bar's arbitration and grievance committees. And I think that is definitely a testament to what I've contributed to our entire legal profession over the last 30 years. And so I'm very proud of that. I'm excited to be involved in that. And the only other thing that I'd like to touch on, I believe, is that, you know, with process serving, we deal with a lot of unique situations. You have your probate lawyers that have their clients that sometimes are in desperate need of selling a property. You've got your divorces where the husband and the wife just can't figure out what to do with their assets, and the judge orders them to sell the property. You've got your evictions, which is a very, very sad situation. We understand where the plaintiff is coming from because they have bills to pay and they can't provide a rental property expense free. On the same note, you have your tenants that have fallen on hard times and they simply cannot pay the rent no matter what they try to do. And it's, you know, you're very sympathetic to both situations. So that has developed, I saw a need where people are in need of being helped. Fortunately, I have a successful career. And while don't get me wrong, I don't want to mislead anyone. You know, I need money to pay my bills as well. I'm in a unique situation to where I was able to go out and get my real estate license with the pretense that I was going to help people. And if I can't help people, there wasn't a reason for me to be involved in that transaction. So I now have a lot of clients that, even if they're not using us as their process serving agency, for example, I was just recently court appointed to sell a condominium because there were two investor partners. They couldn't decide how they wanted to run it. They were running the property into the ground. The community association was complaining that if they got bad tenants and they were getting ready to take action. And so they started suing each other. And I guess one of the attorneys knew that I was a realtor, and got me an appointment by the judge. I take pride in that. That was something that we were able to help the situation. We sold the property above asking price at a very reasonable amount, and we solved the problem there. Same thing with divorces and probate law. You get these properties where someone has just passed away, and because that person was terminally ill for the last 10 years, the property has become dilapidated. Well, those are properties that most realtors won't even bother getting involved in. They would rather see the property get wholesaled for pennies on the dollar because they feel it's not worth their time. Well, for me, everything's worth my time because I'm not in it for the money. I'm in it to help somebody. The money's a byproduct. If I earn a commission, it's a byproduct. So that's
you're a good
kind of
way
how we do it.
You're a good guy that way, Lance. I know that about you, and I know that's genuine. Closing out here, can you let everyone know how to contact you, your website, email, that kind of thing?
Yes, for LRI process serving, we can be reached at www.lri.us. And by email, the best email address to use if you're just trying to contact us is status@lri.us. Or by telephone, we're one of the few companies. I don't believe, I'm going to stress this, I don't believe in automated answering and push 17 buttons to get to somebody. I feel that that is the worst example of customer service there is out there. I believe that there should be a live person. When you make a phone call, someone should answer that call and be ready to assist you. Not push 17 buttons and maybe you'll get to where you want to be. And by the time we answer the phone, you're so frustrated that you just want to vent instead of solve your problem. So you can reach us by telephone. That's 954-944-3900. On the real estate side, if you have any questions whatsoever regarding real estate, I can be reached at lance.randall@kw.com or directly on my mobile at 954-214-8263.
Outstanding. Lance, thank you for taking time chat with me to educate us on LRI process serving litigation, as well as your real estate business. I wish you well, my friend.
Thank you. And I wish you and your family and everybody else a wonderful holiday season.
Thank you. And to all our audience, I personally highly recommend Lance. I've known him for years and I know that he'll provide you great service. So happy holidays to everyone.
Thanks, guys.